The presidency has reacted to reports allegedly made by Senator representing Borno South, Ali Ndume, claiming that a former Chief of Army Staff, General Tuku Buratai, and his convoy were attacked by terrorists in Borno State. The president's special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Ononuga, in a post on X, said that the senator was spreading falsehoods. He further shared a statement from Buratai's office clarifying that the former Chief of Army Staff was not in Borno, but peacefully celebrating Eid festivities in Abuja with his family and friends. The statement condemned the report as mischievous and utterly false, attributing it to reckless imagination and purveyors of fake news aiming to malign Buratai and spread misinformation. Meanwhile, Senator Ali Ndume, during a televised interview on Monday, clarified that he never claimed that the former Chief of Army Staff narrowly escaped a Boko Haram attack. Instead, he stated that Buratai town in Bu local government area of Borno State was attacked by insurgents. Ndume emphasized that the security situation in Borno and other parts of the country remain a deep concern, describing it as terrible in most regions except the South-South, which grapples with economic sabotage like oil theft, and the relatively safer Southwest. Ndume also said that he sympathizes with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu regarding his re-election prospects, drawing a parallel to former President Goodluck Jonathan, who, despite being endorsed by 22 PDP governors, still lost his re-election bid. Let's take a look.
Jonathan had 22 governors then, endorsing him like we did now. And what happened? Jonathan lost woefully. And even that time, what happened? A lot of money was spent, over 2 billion or whatever. And then even the election was sifted. But we are not learning our lesson. And I pity Mr. President for this kind of a thing. Even though he came out one time that this is not time for campaign, we should not be campaigning. But you have already seen the problem now. You go out there and say you are endorsing Mr. President. And when the rumors came out that, oh, the National Assembly members also and this thing are going to be given automatic ticket. The party came out to say, we are not giving them automatic ticket. So who is going to be the foot soldier?
All right. Senator Ali Ndume here. He's been quite vocal. We know that, he's been always the type of person that speaks truth to power. As we saw here, he's making comments about the Jonathan administration. Dr. Bati. Dr. Bati, are you here?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. I called your name twice because I was looking at you. Okay, he made mention about the fact that, during your time, 22, PDP governors defected and of course, Jonathan still lost the election there. And it's good that he's clarified that it was a town in Borno State and not the Chief of Army Staff that he was making, former Chief of Army Staff that he was making reference to in that statement, basically debunking what Bayo Ononuga and that press statement.
Okay, Senator Ali Ndume is the senator representing Borno South in the Senate. And so to that extent, in the interest of his people as a citizen, he has consistently expressed concern about the security situation in that part of the country, Northeast, and maybe perhaps other parts of Nigeria. Now, we keep saying that Nigeria faces a major challenge of insecurity, and government, whether from the Jonathan administration to the Tinubu administration to the future government that will come, will have to address that problem, because the security of this environment we call Nigeria is very important. Now, there's a disagreement between him and the presidency about the details of what he said. Now he has walked back that statement to say, where he didn't say General Buratai was attacked, but that, insurgents are still operating in the Northeast. Our concern is that whether it's the Northeast or the Middle Belt or the South-South or the Northwest, Nigerians deserve to be able to sleep at home with their two eyes closed and wake up the following morning and enjoy the privileges of the right to life and right to the dignity of the human person. As I said earlier, the Tinubu administration should see these criticisms as, wake-up calls that the battle is not yet over until it is over, and there is a lot more that needs to be done. But the caveat is that the Tinubu administration did not create the problem. The problem is over, 2 decades old. But every administration that comes in has to deal with it. You said Senator Ali Ndume has a capacity for speaking truth to power. No, I don't agree with that assessment.
That's your opinion.
He says a lot of things that do not make sense.
Yeah.
I used to be his sparring partner on Al Jazeera in those days when I was presidential spokesperson. So I know him directly. It's not as if I'm just talking. So it's not everything that he says that is in order.
Yeah, so he's been known to speak truth.
Well, I don't think so. And I know him better than most people who have not even met him in person. And that takes me immediately to some of the statements he made about the Jonathan administration. He said President Jonathan was endorsed by 22 PDP governors for the 2015 election.
Yes.
That is not true.
So that's not true.
It is not true to the extent that in 2014-2015, there was crisis within the PDP. In fact, some of the governors left the party, due to a crisis of internal democracy. The governor of Kano left, the governor of Kwara left, senators, about 13 of them left, members of the House of Reps, some of them also left, the Sokoto governor left, the Rivers governor left. They now joined the APC at that time to form what they called the new PDP, which merged into the APC. So President Tinubu at that time didn't have members of the opposition from the APC or the CPC or the ACN dissolving into the PDP. So that's the fact. And that's, something to look at. The second thing is that the objective conditions are totally different. President Tinubu and President Jonathan, they are two different persons. Now, President Jonathan was a kind of a leader who will tell you, if God gave you 10 powers, 10 baskets of power, you should use just one. Okay? But, President Tinubu probably has a different temperament. He has been saying anybody that wants to leave any opposition party where they have lost their life jackets are welcome into the All Progressives Congress. So, in other words, at that time also, you had a combination between President Buhari, who was a folk hero in the Northwest, and you had President Tinubu as he is now, with a lot of grassroots support, and the two forces coming together, and then northern elements saying they wanted power to return to the north. So the objective conditions are totally different. So it's not enough for him to say, oh, if everybody is dissolving into the APC, President Tinubu should not rely on that. So in that regard, I think that the analysis is faulty, and some of the details he has been credited with are completely false in that regard. But on the issue of security as a priority, I will agree with him in that regard, because it affects all of us. We all need to be safe. So, but the only thing to say is whether defection or people dissolving into the ruling party, I think our emphasis should be on the Nigerian people. Right. It should be the Nigerian people who should decide in the next general election who their president will be.
Right.
It is not politicians, it's not elite defections, because the conversation is always about elites. Senator this has gone to APC, Governor this has dissolved into APC. How about the ordinary people? People like us, we are the ones that vote. Most of these elites, they run away on election day. You wait when it's election time. You will hear that many of them are already in Spain, they are in England, and they will be phoning, hey, how is it going? How is it? How is the election? After the election is won and lost, they will rush back to come and be lobbying for appointments. Let's place the emphasis on the right of the voter to choose well and to be properly informed.
All right. I particularly liked Senator Ali Ndume's comments during that interview when he said, the APC summit was not supposed to be a summit for endorsing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I mean, it's not the time to be doing these outright endorsements. And we have seen Senator Ali Ndume a couple of times. I mean, only recently, back in July, he escaped suspension because, he said that the administration allegedly are filled with or populated with kleptocrats. But we have seen him speak very, very boldly against this APC-led government. In the same vein, as we discuss the wave of defections that has sparked concern among opposition leaders about their political footing ahead of the 2027 general elections, a former spokesperson for Atiku Abubakar, Segun Sowunmi, has expressed a willingness to work with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu if appointed to a position. Sowunmi's comments come after he visited President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to celebrate the Eid al-Kabir festival, despite his previous strong criticism of the Tinubu administration, which included labeling the government as rudderless and accusing it of ethnic concentration and lopsidedness. Sowunmi expressed his admiration for Tinubu and his willingness to work with the president, stating that he will resign from the PDP if appointed to a position. Sowunmi made the comment on live television, but was quickly reminded how he condemned the Tinubu administration, including the appointment of Daniel Buala. Let's take a look.
Because I dislike.
This is you, Mr.
Yes, I'm telling you.
I criticized Daniel Buala when he moved on to the other side.
No, I didn't.
You did.
No, listen.
You called him a tongue. You called him several names.
I never did.
Right on this program, you did.
No.
I dare say you did.
Okay.
If I knew you were going to deny it, I would have brought it.
Listen, what I said.
You criticized him.
No.
But I think you should apologize to him.
No.
But if you criticize Buala for working for Tinubu, and this is you talking so eloquently about Bola Tinubu,
listen,
you heavily
I own
criticize.
my mouth, I own my words, I own my arguments.
Does it look to you like betrayal
of who?
Of Atiku Abubakar?
Is he
of you now taking sides?
Is he running for president now? He's running a coalition which everybody knows I'm not part of.
Daniel Buala, for example, you criticize him for moving to...
If you go and look, you will find out that I didn't really...
I will get it. I'll probably put it online.
It doesn't matter.
To remind you.
You could.
And Shehu definitely did get that video. Well, here is Sowunmi calling Daniel Buala a turncoat. Let's take a look.
I find it extremely offensive on behalf of those of them who have been standing with the APC, standing with this party for so long, that suddenly a turncoat Buala is now the one that is getting pictures in the villa, getting pictures in front. Where is Ayo Yalowo, who crosses sword with me all the time? Where is Joy Bokwe, who crosses sword with me all the time? Where is Al-Hawan? Al-Hassan, who crosses sword with me. These are men who have been just like me in PDP, and suddenly it's Buala now that is eating breakfast in the villa, it's Buala that is eating breakfast in Paris, and you expect people to believe that you know what you're doing?
All right. Well, you know what I say always, the internet never forgets. And we are seeing these defections, which he actually condemned in that particular video, and we see him in the picture. Let me take Daniel Buala's tweet. He was really happy. He wrote, "Vindicated. I am happy that I led the mass exodus. We move. Now on to the next one. Stay tuned." I mean, he is actually really, Segun Sowunmi here. Our favorite.
Okay, well, Segun's comments, well, clearly, this is journalism in action, because you heard Sean Okunbaloye say, well, when the shoe was on the other foot and you were condemning Daniel Buala, you said that this type of move, this type of exodus, this type of defection is wrong. And he denied it vehemently. And now we've all been able to see that actually he did say the same thing. And I do think that, as we've said many times, as you've said many times, as we've heard here, power is very addictive.
Yes.
Proximity to power is something that many people say that they can resist. But this is another example of someone not being able to resist the allure of the president. He said that he was paying some form of a visit to celebrate Salah, but as you said in the write-up there, he would be willing to work with the president if the president wanted him, and he would leave the PDP if the president wanted him. So perhaps he shouldn't be the person talking so much about other people. Perhaps he should put a muzzle on himself this time.
Put a muzzle! I love that. Our favorite Niger wife.
I think it's just another perfect example of elite politics in action, which is that how does this affect the price of gari, the price of bread, the exchange rate? for the common man. And to be honest, this is a season of governance. It's a bit disappointing that our attention continues to be shifted towards this game of, shall I call it, musical chairs that's happening between the parties and with the political elite, and the issues that are being trivialized in the process. We speak of ideology in the world of politics, and unfortunately, we're not seeing any strong ideology. I think even last week, several times actually, we've also spoken about the fact that the person that they're all, sort of falling over themselves to try and please and to get close to is somebody who actually stood his ground on ideological grounds, and is somebody who stuck to his guns when he believed in something. He wasn't someone who would bend very easily and bow to whichever side for personal interest or for convenience at the time. So again, for me, I think the biggest calamity here is the fact that this is June 2025. Yes. We're trying to focus on governance and issues relating to governance. But, as the elite likes to do, the elite are more concerned about their stomach infrastructure and how things can benefit them and their families directly. Mm-hmm. And as journalists, it's important for us to continue to shift the focus back to governance. I'd love to know what his thoughts are on the current economic situation in the country.
And that's why I said I particularly loved, Ali Ndume's comments about the APC summit, which was supposed to focus on what they have achieved, policies. This sort of conversation is what Nigerian people need to hear, what the administration has been doing so far, instead of these sort of endorsements and conversation about race to 2027.